The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
Our Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more, into the breach do we go, dear friends.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have? And well, we're off 12 points on the S&P cash, but that was more like 20 earlier in the day. Dow's off 123. The Nasdaq's off 26. Volume's okay. Is it great? No. 2.1 billion shares. So we continue kind of a pullback with no volume, but lighter volume. Even though we didn't have a lot on the way up, this is even a little bit less on the way down. I was looking for some kind of low into Friday's expiration around this time of day, so we'll take a look and see how the close comes in. But I bought a few things this morning or added to positions. So we'll see what happens the rest of the day. But few sectors out there look like they've made their lows going into Christmas. And I'm not a big fan of buying ETFs or the indexes, but I think there are a few stocks that could have some nice runs before the end of the year. And we'll look at some other stuff. As always, we like to start the show off with a little bit of history. Okay. Looks like once again, .com is not happy. For whatever reason. Is it happy now? Hopefully it's happy. But we shall see. Anyway, we got to get to a little bit of history.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1971, an advertisement in the magazine Electronic News announces the Intel 4004. Or 4004. First commercially available microprocessor. The 4004 was primarily used in calculators, the first being the Busicom 141PF. In fact, the Busicom actually developed the design of what would become the Intel 4004. Busicom approached Intel to help them finalize the design and manufacture their calculator engine. Intel's engineers reduced the 12 integrated circuits that Busicom had into 4 ICs and delivered the finished product in July of 1971 and continued that on. So hopefully everybody in the den can tell me that they're seeing my slides correctly now. I don't get any feedback. I don't know if anything has changed. So what else do we have? Okay, thank you. Yes, just you do something and there's no feedback, you don't know it. So just got to ask sometimes, I guess. So anyway, of course, Intel became the behemoth that it is now. And a lot of, I'm going to call them technology archaeologists, are going back. The blueprints for the 4004 and 8008 have all been made public domain. And some of these folks are out there actually recreating these chips in discrete components and showing how to actually build integrated chips out of individual transistors and stuff. These things become quite big because, of course, integrated circuits do make things smaller. But on this day in 1971, it was the impedance that would drive Intel really into the late 70s, and its design for the PC that really drove it up and onward. So what else do we have going on? Of course, we've got a webinar tonight on Ethereum and Bitcoin and all the rest. I always look at these things as the people that truly made a lot of money in the gold rush 1 out of 1,000 people made money in the gold rush. But guess what? All the people that made big money and long-term money, it wasn't the gold rush. It was selling picks and axes. It was selling blue jeans, become Levi's. It was a lot of the stuff around it. And hopefully, I'm looking forward to maybe them mentioning a few names out there. I've looked at this fairly hard, and I don't think that there's a clear winner. And more than a little bit of waiting for the government to step in. So maybe some of those things will be addressed tonight. Looking forward to it. We talked about the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum last week, but going to be interesting. Did I not finish that? I didn't finish it. Cobalt shortage. I heard a few people pushing this around. There is some talk about not enough cobalt for lithium-ion batteries in the future, and a lot of other stuff. Normally, when I hear this, the first thing you got to find out is that, one, it's true, and to a smaller part, cobalt shortage is not true. That is, we can go back to the first days of this show, where we were talking about MCP? Yeah, MCP, and rare earths, which cobalt, not really in that league. But what you really find out is that rare earth minerals and even cobalt are not rare. What's rare is finding them in a big concentration that makes it economical to mine. So the question is always, well, there's not enough cobalt. Well, is it cobalt what price? We saw, of course, crude come down today on the EIA numbers, and I posted in the den what I always thought was the control rods in this nuclear reaction that is commodities, and that is when the price goes up, more people start to drill, and then the price comes down. And the old saying from one of our good friends here at TFNN that has gone to the great exchange in the sky was that the best cure for a high price is a high price, and the best cure for a low price is a low price. Well, that's going to be the same thing in the cobalt shortage. One of the other things you might want to think about is there a place more than a couple of small countries in Africa that has better potential cobalt mines than Africa? And I wonder if you can think of which one it would be. Anybody in the den? Nope. How about Cuba? Cuba has some of the biggest mines for cobalt in the world. One of the other things that you would think, Elon Musk has addressed this many times. He's already set up a recycling center at his battery production facility where he says he can recover 99% of all the cobalt that he will need over time. 99% of lead is recycled. There's only one lead mine in all of the United States for new car batteries. 99% of it is recycled. We'll talk about this a little more when we come back.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And just wanted to finish up on the cobalt shortage, and then we'll get into some charts and some other stuff. But it doesn't seem to be a issue. And of course, in the prospectus for the stock, you always have to look in companies like Tesla and others. But both from General Motors and from Tesla are saying that they don't think it's going to be a big long-term issue for cobalt. So when I see a lot of these things in very thin stocks, a lot of news coming out decrying the end of all cobalt, you're not going to have any. It's going to be more. It's going to be worth more percentage-wise over lithium. I always think that you probably should take a lot of that with a grain of salt and then start doing the research yourself. But it's interesting. But if you actually think that there's going to be a cobalt shortage, all the cobalt being mined right now each year could be doubled by just opening up mines in Cuba, much less a handful of other places around the world. So could there be temporary shortages of cobalt? There certainly could be. But is there going to be a long-term lack of cobalt? Well, just like the drillers who fire up their rigs every time crude bounces another $5, I think you would be sadly mistaken at this point to think that's true. And the recycling systems are already set up both by General Motors and by Tesla and others to the point where at some point you're going to get 90% of all the cobalt back in recycling. So I had many people ask me what was going to happen when these battery packs go bad. But Tesla's already got a recycling center that grinds up the batteries, pulls all the chemicals out and reuses them. Most people think, well, the battery goes bad, there's nothing really you can do with it. The reality is that batteries go bad because there's a thing called a cathode and an anode. And over time, the chemicals, waste chemicals build up. And if you've ever been in a cave, there's stalagmites and stalagmites stalagmites and stalactites. That's one or the other. The ones from the top and the ones from the bottom. Eventually, they touch each other and short out, and that is why these batteries eventually fail. It's almost impossible to keep these things from sulfating. I spent a lot of money trying to build a company to actually solve this problem back in 2007, and whatever we tried, it did not, there wasn't easy, let me put it this way, there wasn't an easy, cheap way. We tried several things, including ultrasonic cleaning. And I kind of thought, you know, solar cells are going to be it if we can solve the issue of storing the electricity. So we went out and bought a bunch of big propane 500,000 gallon tanks, and we're going to build giant batteries that you could just set out behind your house. But didn't matter what happened. We tried all kinds of anodes and cathodes, and guess what? This stuff, all these chemicals tend to eventually basically turn to like concrete, and there's no getting out of them. You just have to grind them up and start them all over again. So kind of interesting idea, but a lot of times people are always screaming fire in a market to try to get it to go higher. Okay, so let's start talking about things going on in the market. Had been wondering whether or not we were going to see more selling from Mr. Buffett. Mr. Buffett said one time, "I would never invest in technology. I don't understand it." Well, he invested in an IBM, apparently didn't understand it or didn't have it right. What am I doing here? What am I waiting for? Oh, here we go. I guess I want to go IBM, not IBB. But you've got IBM back down to its support level where this thing took off. Not a bad looking chart out here. He sold, what, about 2/3 of what he had. But he's an interesting guy. Always said that you shouldn't buy options. Now he has the biggest option house. Always said you shouldn't buy airlines. Now he owns a ton of airline stock. Said he'd never own a technology company. Owns lots of Apple and did own lots of IBM. But this is one of the ones he's kind of got into and out of the fastest that I can remember. And that's it. Yeah. So we got a lot of stuff going on out here. Anyway, not a lot of volume. It's back to its support level. We talked about maybe the future of IBM. And of course, with Bitcoin and the blockchain on my mind today, I always think about IBM, who does have some fairly big efforts in the blockchain for businesses, especially finance. These things have not come to fruition like its quantum computing effort, but in about a year, we're probably going to see this thing. At least they're going to have some decent products out. I don't know if that drives them higher, but between IBM and SAP, we'll take a quick look at SAP. Both of these companies actually have huge efforts along in this. SAP certainly looks better out of the two. You've got one big gap back in SAP that goes back to April 24th of this year. And you kind of gap down a little bit out here, but you know, if SAP could get around to 107 or 108, that may be an interesting stock. But SAP kind of heading up the blockchain of the EU as a German company, mostly German company. But that's it. He found out that idea. It's interesting. Of course, after the bell tonight, we've got Cisco. This is really kind of the last big name that's going to move the tech market before the end of the year. They got up here to the May 8th high, 34.31, that had 26 million shares. They got into it with 32 million shares. So you've got to expect that there's going to be kind of a retest of this high. What I've disliked about Cisco is a lot of companies coming in and undercutting them on price. The other thing is this move off of the August 21st low up to this November 1st high has seen the energy compared to this thing on the way down off the May 8th high down to the May 18th low as fairly tough. Now, this did get into its previous low, but did not test it. That May 18th low had 85 million shares into it. You got into it and tested it, but not broke it at $30.36. So Cisco may have a big trading range ahead of it. There's not enough clues to go out there and say higher. There's some tech stocks that I like that have some good stories going on through the end of the year. We'll get to those. Well, another earnings release after the bell tonight. We'll return.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And after the bell, after Cisco, we've got NetEase. It's one of the bigger high flyers from China stocks. This has like online game services, email commerce, other segments. It's kind of I'm going to say it's more like an American Online than probably anything else, especially with the government oversight. They like these big guys watching everything you do. But it's done fairly well so far. Again, I always worry about the fact that no one's really checking the books on these Chinese companies. The Chinese give the NYSE and the NASDAQ the middle finger anytime you want to look at their books, because they're pretty sure that it's really an NSA agent or a CIA agent working for the NASDAQ that wants to look and get a competitive edge. I guess if you do that stuff all the time, then you're afraid it's going to be done to you. So I don't know if it's so much that they don't want to show it, or they think we're going to get a competitive advantage if anybody knows about it. But I've always worried about Chinese stocks because of that. In the United States, you don't have any choice. They'll send you to jail, but you can flip a finger off your nose at the U.S. Regulators if you're a stock and happen to be in China. So I've always worried about that. We've seen a lot about, especially Bitcoin in the early days, where these exchanges were always in somewhere that no one looked over their shoulders. And surprise, every one of them, people tried to run off with the money. Same thing with illegal issues like online gambling. We found out, of course, all those online gambling sites that were out in the Bermudas and everything else. Surprise, surprise, when the U.S. Made them illegal and they ran out of cash fairly quickly, come to find out that almost all of them had some kind of rig to skim money off the top. I think a couple of the, was it Poker Stars? Was another one. Can't remember which one of them. Several of them went to jail, and you found out later the programmers fessed up the fact that you may have been playing with 4 computers and they just took your cash as quickly as possible. Sometimes it wasn't that bad, but other times it was their buddies that they had doing it. There is a certain amount to be said for regulation. FanDuel, yeah. That's kind of the model I'm looking at. John from Philadelphia in the Den brings it up. And that is for FanDuel, they didn't like them at all until, guess what? They started coughing up money to New York. And then everything was fine. We're happy with you now. And that's one of the things I'd like to see also in Bitcoin and these others, but also in Chinese stocks. Anyway, you gapped up on a huge pop on the 6th of November. You did so on 3 million shares. Last couple of days, you've been down or in this gap for about 1 million shares. So come back. You ready for earnings tonight? We shall see. I'm trying to remember when the earnings is out there. It's going to be later. It's going to be at 7 p.m. So we're probably not going to see any kind of prints on it for until tomorrow morning. So other things going on. Victoria has a secret. I know what it is. But L Brands also comes out after the bell. Now this one's come right back up to its gap down, 14 million shares from the 6th of July. This came down with 14.3 million shares. Got into it a handful of days ago of 4 million shares, 4.3 million shares, 2.2 million shares. Today about 3.2 million shares. So we're back up against a lot of people that would love to sell at a few bucks higher. But we had a little gap up a couple weeks ago on the 2nd of November, and there's some fairly decent words out on L Brands saying that maybe they're the one bright spot in malls. So many of these are in malls and people don't go in there anymore. So there's not a lot of surprise sales for these folks. But at least around this time of year, it looks like a few more. If this one actually goes up a little higher, we might find that there is a home for some of these stores. But if you go to the big malls, they tend to be in it. You go into the smaller strip malls, not so much. My question is whether or not these kind of impulse buy stores like L Brands can work in a post-mall world. It is kind of tough. Sexual harassment stock. Yes, endorsed by Weinstein himself. So an interesting stock. How much time we got here? I've got a little bit more time to take a look at some of these others. Wanted to, so that's after the bell tonight. We're going to get into earnings for tomorrow. And of course, a lot of people saying that Walmart's the only company that can now go up against Amazon. A little doji out here today as Target gets the brunt of the downside. We'll take a look at that GGT. I watched the interview today with the CEO, and he said he's kind of astounded by the price action. But he said they were moving numbers lower for Christmas. So I don't know how he could be astounded or not upset, but shocked at the response, the price response. Maybe he thought maybe it'd go down 50 cents, but went down a lot more. It got to $54.06. There's a big gap down here at about 51 bucks. My guess is that this thing, especially after Christmas, works its way back down to that $51 level. If you were wanting to get into this one, that would probably be the first level to get in to. And of course, also in the morning, we've got Best Buy. Best Buy has been selling, no, excuse me, that's Bed Bath & Beyond, BBY. Best Buy has kind of come off the top. It actually gapped down. This gap down in retrospect was kind of them guiding down a little bit. At the time, they didn't really talk about why they were guiding down on the 29th of August. It makes a lot more sense now that we know that they are not going to have the kind of volumes in the iPhone. I think we discussed this with Tom O'Brien about margins in Apple. And for Apple to keep the margins, if we're the most generous, they need every dime of the retail selling price of the iPhones. And Best Buy continues to have very few of them. And in fact, most of the Verizon's and T-Mobile's also not getting very much of the new iPhone 10s. And basically scraping off all the cream for themselves before letting a lot more of these phones in. Still, maybe someone will call in, let me know if they had an experience trying to buy an i10 or their friends did, whether they were able to get them. Right now, the only one we have, well, we're going to go right to Todd in Fort Collins, Colorado. I hired a programmer from there. We'll get back to him. We'll be back on the other side of the break.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks! Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we're back. We're going to go to Todd in Fort Collins, Colorado. How you doing today, Todd?
Doing great. How about you?
Another day in paradise. Got the second pool heater installed today. It's a balmy 78 degrees in the pool and about 75 degrees outside. So you can't ask for any better.
Wonderful. Good for you.
It will be as soon as 4 o'clock rolls around. I get to go use that pool. What's going on with you?
Well, I just happened to look at the screen, and I see CenturyLink is one of the few things up. So I look at their chart, and my goodness, I haven't looked at this stock in quite a while. And what's going on? And what do you think for the future?
One of the things going on is a lot of these bigger companies like Amazon and Google and Microsoft. I think we even talked about it with Tom and the Tech Insider maybe 2 weeks ago. That was that they were dropping their own fiber communication lines from the East Coast to Europe. That these guys that actually offer both the equipment and the cables are kind of getting squeezed out by the largest of the guys who don't want to share. Google doesn't think it can share, especially across from continent to continent, cables with other people, because they're always afraid that maybe that company like CenturyLink will favor somebody else over them. And that would be a competitive advantage, or that they could raise their prices on them and hold them kind of hostage. So a lot of these companies are kind of falling to the wayside as Amazon buys their own fiber from coast to coast and from continent to continent. Same thing with Microsoft. These guys are all worried that anybody could get in the line. Kind of remember the olden days of the West. There was always a fight on whether or not someone dammed up the river upstream, and all the cows died, and they ran that guy off, and he ended up just making his cattle ranch a little bigger. The guy upstream just worked his way down. That's kind of the same thing these guys are all worried about now. And that business is really starting to hit home in these second-tier providers of equipment and just the same thing. Let's take a look at this one here real quick. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I follow what you're saying, and it does make sense.
So you've got...
I guess I'm just wondering, okay, is this stock that the dividend's going to go away or go way down, or is $15 a good? I mean, the market will tell us soon enough. But I'm just curious. 2-3
I've
years
been watching.
down the road.
I've been watching
What do you-
LLL, which is L3 Communications. They don't sell as much equipment. They're kind of mostly just a huge backbone provider. Now, they did test the low of its October 26th low that had 1 million shares with 500,000 shares on the 13th. But we're kind of down again on lighter volume. I would kind of look at this one as one part of their business because they actually sell a lot more other equipment and a lot more services. L3 really is just backbone technology. But what we're seeing is that a lot of the stuff that CenturyLink does and would have sold to the big 4 or 5 kind of internet companies, that business is going away. They're doing it all themselves. They're dropping their own cable. They're buying so much cable. Like I said, they bought whatever it was, enough to go from Newfoundland all the way over to Spain, fiber optic cable. And I think, what was it, Amazon and Microsoft? I'd have to think about it now, paired up. These guys aren't going through people like CenturyLink anymore or deciding to depend on L3 Communications. So we'll see how these things go out. But I think at least half of the business, you'd want to look at L3 for how CenturyLink's going to do in the near future, because not everybody's a Amazon or something like that, right? So there's a lot of smaller companies. But the problem is the smaller companies are seeing the wisdom of just signing up for Amazon Web Services and letting them basically have a monopoly from town to town, country to country, so they can get high quality service too. But, that's kind of it. You don't want to be, there used to be a fight for the last mile to the house for everybody, for like cable providers and telephone providers and everybody that wanted to get to your house. A lot more of that's wireless now. And again, as these things condense, winner takes all kind of businesses. Short, both the people on the very small or smaller end of business and the people on the very high end of the business are tending to go to these basically Amazon Web Services, IBM Web Services, and they're eating all that business up. And these guys do not pay retail. They go direct to the manufacturer and bypass all this so they get much better pricing. So it's one of these things where consolidation, but most of that consolidation is a winner take all for maybe 4 or 5 of the biggest tech stocks. So I can't say that CenturyLink looks to me like a great buy going forward. It may not be a bad buy, but if you're looking for it to get back to the days of its glory past just a few months ago, that may be a tough slog.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does. And I appreciate your insight and all that. Thank you very much.
You bet. You can give me a call too at 877-927-6648. I wish I would have thought about this before and shorted it, but didn't have much. It probably wasn't on my radar anyway. It wasn't over $30. So, a tough one, but it's going to be tough. It is a winner-take-all technology market for the most part. Let's go back to some of the earnings. As we talked about, after the market close tomorrow night, we've got a few more AMAT. This thing's up at the highs, not giving any real signals, but this one, could be up a couple of bucks or down $5 if they don't make their money. Relatively new company, Splunk, who's in data mining, also after the bell tomorrow night. These guys were at its highs. It's already rolled over. And the volume wasn't all that exciting when it busted through the May 15th high, just 4 or 5 days ago here. What was it, the 8th? So we've got this one back into the trading range. Downside on it would be about $61. Maybe, could they get back up to $72? That may be the upside on this one. This one did get beat around, but data mining still a big business. And certainly you have to kind of put this together with the other company that disappointed, which was Tableau Software, which is symbol is data, DATA. This one blew up a few days ago, and I'm wondering if Splunk doesn't do the same thing. Again, these providers are kind of on the outside looking in of these big Amazon Web Services, Google Web Services, Microsoft Azure's system, Salesforce. All these guys kind of on the outside looking in now. And talk more about this when we come back.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. Come join me next hour as we bisect and dissect these markets. Right here on TFNN. Wow!
And we're back. Of course, Tom O'Brien for the next 2 hours. A few earnings out after the bell tonight, and the blockchain webinar tonight. Probably be in the den taking a look at that. So what else do we have going on here? Well, we're off 9 points on the S&P, 10 points. Volume's not all that exciting. It's good, but not huge, not definitive. So we don't have a lot out here. NASDAQ's off 18 points. It seemed to be the weaker sister on the way back down, but it's all about the close now. Somehow I thought that today would be kind of the low between now and Friday and expiration, and that we might see some kind of surprise maybe between tonight's close and Friday that gets us back up to 2,600. Probably wouldn't be a big deal. A lot of shorts out here. It could be thinning markets from now to the end of the year. So keep an eye on that. We were talking about earnings. Most of the earnings going to be that we already covered in technology. The other ones that are going to be interesting on Thursday are all about retail. Of course, Target whiffed and blew up this morning. Everybody piling into Walmart thinking that they will be the takes all in the retail space. We have a few more. The Gap looks like it could be in an ABC on the way down. We also have Ross Stores. These are all Thursday after the close. And Ross Stores looks like a double top. The volume is about the same. But this one could have one more gap up. It's had two gaps here, and you're looking for the third gap to signal a high on that. Also after the bell on Thursday is Williams-Sonoma, Tom O'Brien's famous green paint store. And see, this one's got kind of like three drives here in a nice W pattern. But don't see a lot in this one either other than light volume today. Again, these things probably not a play going into earnings, but and not much giving a signal. But well, we'll keep an eye on it. But I'd probably stay away from retail until Friday. In the meantime, sell what you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.